In our last session, we looked at a business-to-consumer example. But now we're going to look at a B2B example, and that's often a much more complex environment. When your product costs just $20, you can sell it off the page. But if you're selling a B2B product or service that's complex, possibly costing hundreds of thousands of dollars, the sales cycle may be measured in months, and the final decision agreed by a committee, well, that's a whole different ballpark. But believe it or not, we can still use ADA. It's just that the sale we make isn't the product, it's an intermediate step, like getting prospective customers to put their head over the parapet and say, I'm in the marketplace, or I'll soon be in the marketplace. Once they've identified themselves, then we can set our salespeople onto them. If you are in a complex, high-cost environment, you might want to pin this to the wall. The objective is not to sell the product, it's to get prospects to identify themselves, raise their heads over the parapet. We're going to look at a real-life example that I first used with incredible success more than 20 years ago. And I've been repeating the process over and over again ever since. It involved a young software house that developed a package to do back-office accounting, accounts receivable, accounts payable, and something called general ledger. It was priced high and intended for companies with a turnover of more than $70 million. The decision makers would all be main board directors, typically the chief financial officer. The campaign was aimed at the 5,000 largest corporations in the UK, a fiercely competitive marketplace, a marketplace that is heavily pestered by junk mail and mail shots. No one buys a $150,000 software solution off the page. Our objective should be to get those chief financial officers who knew they'd be in the marketplace in the next 12 months or so to contact us, put their hand up and say, hey, I'm going to be in the market soon. A letter, an email, a web page or whatever asking, are you in the marketplace? If so, contact us. And so many direct marketing pieces say just that would get an almost zero response. Instead, our pitch was to sell a survival guide for free. A guide which would tell them everything they needed to know to be sure they were making the right decision. This is what it looked like. See how we used the ADA approach. Attention. Evaluating financial accounting software. Now, you might think our headline looks boring. But headlines don't have to be clever, they don't have to be witty, they don't have to be punchy, they need to have resonance. At the time, UK corporations were going through turmoil trying to accommodate lots of changes coming from the EU. They were desperate to operate multinationally, and that meant completely changing their accounting systems. That's not an easy decision for large corporations. The sheer hassle is huge, time-consuming and costly. So anyone making a major decision about replacing their core accounting systems would be very aware of the importance of not making a bad decision. Yes, the headline did capture attention, and the response rate proves it. Interest. The copy read, if so, don't talk to anyone, including us, until you've seen our free evaluation guide. Might be useful. It's not a sales pitch, it's 4 to 6 pages jam-packed with practical guidelines you could adopt when evaluating different software options. Yes, I'm interested. Desire. You could even use it to develop your own software strategy. It will almost certainly contain information you will not have had time to research and evaluate for yourself. Yes, I want it. Action. In this case, the call to action was a coupon. Did it work? Over 1,700 main board CFOs of the 5,000 largest companies in the UK returned the coupon. Yes, it worked. And it still does. Did you notice how we used emotions as a trigger for desire? We cover the importance of emotion in sales copy elsewhere in the course, but I can't resist the temptation to show you how well it can work within Ada, even when our ultimate sale will be a complex, expensive solution selected by board-level accountants. Accountants responding to emotion? 46 pages jam-packed. Fear. God, what on earth have I missed? I couldn't think of 46 pages worth. Almost certainly contains information you won't have had time or resource to research for yourself. Reinforces that fear. Use it to develop your software strategy. Laziness. Use it as a discussion document with your colleagues. An opportunity to shine in front of my peers. Self-esteem. I was asked by a startup two-man company to create a lead generation campaign that would get a high response and at the same time position them as an established large organization, which clearly they were not. They were a web development company, by the way. We created a podcast that sounded like a BBC news item. People in the UK will have recognized the music as being that used by one of the main TV news channels, and the voiceover was a recognizable newsreader. To develop their interest, it said, "There are 4 very different strategies you could adopt to exploit the web: Channel Master, Customer Magnet, Pirate, and Termite." Terms they almost certainly have never heard before. It talked about the need for companies to completely overhaul their marketing approach. We got their interest. God, I don't know what a Channel Master or a Customer Magnet is. Then, it went on to offer a free, comprehensive guide that would explain everything in layman's terms. Things you almost certainly won't have had time or resource to research for yourself. Exactly the same approach as the printed campaign from 20-odd years before. Response was fantastic, and ironically, their first sale from the campaign was a huge contract with one of the world's biggest management consultancy firms. Remember, this was a 2-man startup. And the cost? Professional voiceover and music copyright release came to about $450. Hope you found that useful.